Hello, and welcome back to that Eurovision podcast, Eurovision with a Slice of Life. My name is Rosie. As you may have noticed, I am not Rory today. Rory is currently trying to find the way back home. He is moving house. He is desperate for a map from Leslie Roy. And we look forward to having him back on when he is in his new abode. In the meantime, I am doing very well. It is lovely to be back podcasting. Not a huge amount has happened since Eurovision, and also a lot's happened. Been getting my house sorted. I actually got to leave the UK for a few days. That was pretty cool. And I am very happy to be joined today by two of my wonderful co-hosts, who I shall let introduce themselves.
Hello, it's Jazzi here. I am doing really well today. It is a really, really nice sunny day, and I am glad to also be back podcasting. Quite a couple of things have happened since we last recorded. I have now got a job. I've finished my placement, and now the only thing I've got left to do is sign on the dotted line to confirm stuff, which has me so excited. And the second thing, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll know I'm a massive football fan, so a lot's happened. Let's just say that. I won't say what's happened because at the time this podcast gets released, we won't actually know if it's came home or not.
We're recording this on Thursday, June the 8th, so it's the night after the semi-final where England have just beaten Denmark. So we get the fun of the Eurovision first place versus the Eurovision final last place in the final on Sunday. So will it be Måneskin supremacy, or will James Newman be avenged by Gareth Southgate and co?
Okay. Now, well, guess who's back in the house?
He's back! He's back, everyone!
He's back!
Okay, I have some explaining to do. If you don't already recognize my voice, it's Tim here. I have not been here for, I think since it was March, April, May, June. I haven't been here for 4 months. Oh my God, and a lot has happened since then. All I'm going to say is I've had to sideline with the guys just because I've had to focus on making Eurovision content with another site. And I've obviously taken a look into that, and I'm so happy that everyone else was able to continue on and, even get accredited. That was a little surprise. So I just wanted to give them a well done. And I know that there has been a lot of changes on here. And another change is I'm back and I'm here full time. So that's a good thing. Post Eurovision depression, I don't know if you guys have read my article, but I haven't done much. I've completely shut off. If you read the article, you'll know why. But you know what? After a bit of resting, I'm very eager. I'm feeling very refreshed. And, we're here to catch up because a lot has changed. And we're here to talk to you about it. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so the first thing we are going to be talking about is all of the exciting changes that are coming up for both the podcast and for that Eurovision site as a whole. We have got some wonderful new team members, and we are very excited for them to be joining us. Some of them you may recognize. So Bradley, who has been on the podcast before, and Lewis, who has been on the podcast before, have both joined the team. And we also have Ava and Helen and Angus. And is there anyone else I'm forgetting?
No, that's it for the minute. Actually.
Oh my God, I remembered all the names.
Yes.
Excellent.
So if you guys are listening, we're just trying to make sure that we have everyone on here.
Yeah. So we are very excited. We have gone international, aside from Helen, who basically lives like 3 miles from Jazzi, or something like that. But we are very excited to have people who are going to be writing and podcasting with us and broadcasting with us and doing all of our really awesome stuff that's coming up from all over the world, particularly Ava, who is Australian. So we are really expanding into the far corners of the globe here. And basically that Eurovision site is taking over the world. So yeah, that's all pretty good. We are going to be back to podcasting regularly, and we will be releasing episodes on a Saturday for the time being. And we will, of course, let you know of any changes to that schedule should those occur. And you will also be introduced to some of our new members in the podcasts in the next few weeks. And yeah, that Eurovision site is buzzing with articles and content. We've had some wonderful articles written by our new members and our old members. So Tim has mentioned his article on post-Eurovision depression. Helen wrote an amazing article about LGBT representation in Eurovision. And we are bringing you all of the latest news from Junior Eurovision, which is coming up in December this year and will be held in Paris. And also music releases, news from the artists that have taken part in Eurovision previously, any news from the broadcasters, and stuff about what information we're getting coming out of RAI. There is so much going on, and we are going to be bringing you all of the content. So definitely make sure you check out that Eurovision site. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, again at that Euro site. And we will be bringing you as much as we possibly can. And we are really, really excited to grow as a site and yeah, bring you everything we can from the world of Eurovision. Is there anything else I'm forgetting to add? Is there anything people want to say about this?
No, I mean, that's exactly been on point. Everyone is learning, everyone is happy, and we can't wait to see what the upcoming year is gonna bring to us as a site. And we hope that, if you follow the podcast, we hope that we can count on your support on this new chapter. And by giving us a like or leaving comments, it would help us massively. So thank you very much if you've been supporting us this far already.
Yeah, just to echo what Tim said, the support that all of you gave us during the Eurovision season and beyond has been incredible. And we are so grateful and lucky and honored to be able to bring you everything that we can. And so to hear your feedback and to hear the lovely things you've had to say has been absolutely wonderful, and just, yeah, certainly puts a huge smile on my face.
I never thought I'd find myself writing for a Eurovision site or anything like that. I thought, the furthest I'll get is the Euro Club in 2019. I thought that was my peak. But no, and now I've been a member of the accredited press, and it's just things that I never thought would happen ever. And I'm just so grateful to all the support that we received during the Eurovision season, when there was literally 3 of us trying to churn out articles, videos, do social media, also live tweeting shows. It was hectic. On final night, I was doing the live tweeting and the articles, and it was just but I received so much support on that night, so thank you so much.
Before moving on, all I will say is, even though we've expanded to as much as we could, if, you've thought one day, I actually do want to join them, we're still looking for people. It's not too late, as John Lundvik would say. So, we've pinned, if you go look on our Twitter page, we've pinned the post. So if you're interested in, joining our team, we're still looking for some amazing people who would want to contribute in some way. So please let us know, and we'd love to hear from you.
I can't remember who I was telling this to. I might have already said it on this podcast, so sorry if I'm repeating this again, but when I was in school, when I was about sort of 11 and 12, I really wanted to be a journalist, and that was my life's goal. I wanted to write things, and I wanted to go to interesting places and talk to interesting people. And I started the most ridiculously stupid school newspaper because that was me wanting to be a journalist. And I'm like, look, Mum, I'm an actual journalist now. I'm literally doing like actual press work. And yeah, we are all so grateful and thankful for giving us the opportunity for us to be able to do this. So thank you all so much. And so with that, we are going to have a little bit of a retrospective on the 2021 contest. It has now been 6 weeks, 7 weeks since the contest was. And so we've had a bit of time for things to settle down and to digest the results and everything that happened and everything that went on. And what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts looking back on it now?
I think like my thoughts looking back on it now is that it was a really well hosted contest. Like a contest that was hosted in pretty tough circumstances, but they still managed to pull it all together and give it that Eurovision feel that we all know and love. And for that, you just have to applaud the Dutch broadcasters and everybody involved, like the production team, the hosts, everybody backstage, the medical staff that were testing and making sure everybody was safe. I think you really have to applaud them, everybody behind the scenes, for what an amazing show they put on, given what they were dealing with, given the situation the Netherlands and the rest of Europe were in this time last year. They couldn't even host a contest. There was doubts even back in like January, February, could this happen, because there was a massive second spike in Europe, and that they've managed to do it. Basically kept it as the show we all know and love. Yes, there were some performers that had to perform remotely, namely Australia, because they have such strict travel restrictions, and Iceland because there was a positive test in their team. But they still managed to make it seem like the Icelandic delegation was still in the arena. Like, you wouldn't have noticed they weren't there unless the host hadn't mentioned it, or you were like watching afterwards from the green room. Like, you wouldn't have noticed, which I thought was a really, really nice touch. You still managed to hear the audience cheering, even though we were watching a rehearsal, and that, as we know, the audience don't attend the rehearsals. So yeah, they've managed to work that out really, really well. So I think they've done a good job, is what I'm trying to say. I will shut up and stop rambling and let somebody else talk now.
Yeah, I absolutely echo everything that Jazzi said. It was such a joy to have Eurovision back. And I missed it last year. Like, I'm sure we all did. If you are listening to a Eurovision podcast, you probably enjoy the contest enough to have missed it in a year where it wasn't running. But it was just so fantastic to have and it was the contest we know and love. It was everything we could have wanted from something like that. And yeah, every single person who was involved in that did such an incredible job of putting it on, whether they are from the Dutch broadcasters, whether they are from the EBU, whether they're from another broadcaster. Yeah, everyone who was involved in this, from the artists down to, yeah, as Jazzi said, the medical staff and everybody who was making the place a thing, everyone that was making the contest a thing. I'm so happy that we got that. And I mean, I've gone and rewatched bits and pieces. I sat and watched every single postcard video last night because I just really liked the postcards this year. I just thought they were lovely. And yeah, I can't really say much more than that. Yes, it wasn't perfect, but in the circumstances that they had, they did absolutely everything that they could. And yeah, I'm very happy with how everything went.
For me, obviously echoing everything, because from what I've seen, I think Eurovision was one of the first events to come back after COVID just literally destroyed the live scene over there. And for them to pull it off with the amount of testing, the amount of restrictions, the amount of effort they've had to add in, obviously with the live on tape performances that they've also had to record with this, they've done a great job with it. And the fact that it only affected two participating countries, not being, well, one mainly, but you know, you get what I mean. But all I'll say is, you know, hopefully we've seen the back of this. And next year, when when it's May, we'll all be on the ground in Italy, and we're not gonna have like a fourth or a fifth wave. Just knocking wood there, because I'm gonna get slaughtered in the fandom if that happens. But all I'll say is, with all of the extra effort that has to be done, I still can't manage to believe that we've managed to pull it off. And, you know, even come out with it with not many cases. From what I read at the time of recording, about 48 cases out of like whatever, how many people. And the fact that, you know, the pandemic has made everyone think we should do things differently, kind of like when Duncan unfortunately couldn't be there on the night, they've actually recorded the performance. You know, you think about things a lot. Yep, I just sneaked that reference in. But yeah, it the pandemic brought in a lot of thinking and how you should do things, and you know, a lot of precautions. So despite whatever you threw at them, they managed to make it work. And I'm going to stop rambling, and I just think it went well, great, despite that.
So we've talked a lot about the hosting. How about the songs? Have you had any songs that have particularly grown on you since the contest?
This was starting to grow on me during the contest, as a lot of fans will know, but it has really grown on me since. And that is Fear and Flammers of Osparhinden. If I didn't mention this, Rosie would have been in shock if I didn't say this was my biggest grower. It's now in my top 10. I love it. It's so much fun. I went through a bit of a difficult time during the rehearsals, and I feel like their second rehearsal was probably the moment where I kind of smiled again and just enjoyed the rehearsal. So I think this song will always have a bit of a meaning for me. I'm not going to go too much into it, but yeah.
I almost feel like so Jazzi came round to my house during the first two the semis, and I feel like she's influenced me, because honestly this song has grown on me so much, and I kind of tried to resist it, and I kind of tried to not get into it, but it's just taken over my brain sometimes. And I just bopping around my kitchen, and I'm just like do 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 do, and yeah, it has grown on me massively. And I'm honestly not sure how many songs I've had really to grow on me, because I really loved this year in terms of song quality. I really loved pretty much every single song that was part of this contest this year. So not many have really had the opportunity to grow on me, but that really is the one that has. It just fills me with joy, and yeah, I love my dad's, basically.
Okay, I'll go on a different perspective. You know what? The first semi had a lot of female bops, and you know, there was the, you know, Albina versus Eden versus Elena, and you just like go on and so forth and so forth. But all I'm gonna say is, like, you know, all of them were great, but Albina was the main one, because I going into the contest, I did not like TikTok as much. I was like, okay, I can sort of see in their perspective why they would like it, but personally, it wasn't for me. And then after the contest happened, and then after, the way I've seen her perform it and the way Marvin Dietman is staged it looked really great and sleek. And then after she didn't qualify, I was just like, this was such a great performance, and I don't know how this didn't make it. It was very disappointing. I was disappointed with a lot of fans, but it is what it is. And another one, which we'll talk about a bit later, is of course our winner, Måneskin. I'm gonna be honest here. Going into Eurovision week, I'm not a big fan of rock. That's why I didn't pay attention to it. And I'm gonna get slaughtered because if you follow me on the Delulu jury, I didn't make this public, but I actually rank Måneskin 33rd. Yeah, I'm gonna get some hate now, but yeah, but I mean, I have ranked it low, but I understood the appeal, and it was the one where I would not mind winning it, just because Italy deserves it, and they always bring the quality. So when it won, I was like, okay, fine, we'll give them that, they deserve it. And then then their cover of Beggin came back again, and I Want to Be Your Slave went on. That's when it hit me like, okay, I can see the quality. I'm not sad that this one, because it actually deserves it. So that's my case on biggest growers.
I feel like Albina is the one that has sort of puzzled me the most, because she qualified with the jury vote, she qualified with the televote, and
But
she still didn't qualify. And I struggle to find flaws in any of the performances of hers that I'd seen, and I really loved the song. I was really into it, and I liked it from watching it in Dora. So yeah, I'm still baffled. Like I logically understand why it didn't qualify. It just didn't get enough overall points. But it just doesn't compute in my brain why it didn't. I'm still baffled by the whole thing. And that sort of moves us on nicely to our next topic. So we've had our biggest growers. Who do you think was the most robbed this year?
I think this one's quite easy for me. The most robbed was Iengo McElroy from the Tally Vote, Birth of a New Age. That song, there is no reason for that song to get 0 Tally Vote points. The performance was engaging, it was joyful, it was everything that you would think would get at least 20th in the Tally Vote, at least get something. The fact that this got 0 really bothered me, and absolutely it's the biggest robbery. Just, he put everything into that performance. The staging was beautiful. Usually I can see why a song doesn't do well or does do well. I can't think of a reason for this to get 0 points. I can't. I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna leave it there before I get angry.
Honestly, I'd kind of forgotten how robbed that song was, and now I'm just upset at how robbed it was. That song was in my top 10. I am still constantly singing it around my house. I still just adore everything that song stands for, and I think it was probably hurt by going before Italy. I think that I don't think it's the only thing that contributed to it, and there has definitely been a lot of discussion about the sort of general sort of racial dynamics of Eurovision voting over the last sort of few weeks or so. And I am a white person from the UK, and I am not the person to lead a discussion about this. But it is something that has definitely stuck in my head in terms of pretty much every Black artist not doing as well as expected. I'm going to leave it at that on that front. But yes, I would absolutely agree that the Netherlands was a huge robbery. As I said, I loved this year, so I kind of feel like every song was robbed that didn't do as well as I wanted it to. But on the other hand, there's nothing I would switch its place for. I absolutely think TikTok should have qualified, but what would I have out of the final as a result? I absolutely think Technicolor should have qualified. Australia, utterly robbed. I feel so bad for Montaigne. 2 years and she doesn't get to go to actual Eurovision, and then she doesn't qualify. And I think the performance she gave was fantastic. I think her live on tape was excellent. And I feel awful for her because I think that song was so entirely different and unique for the contest. Of course, my number one, my absolute bae, Leslie Roy, she deserved better. Yes, it wasn't the strongest performance out of semi one. Yes, semi one was tough. Last in semi one, absolutely the fuck not. Absolutely not. Not okay. But yeah, Samantha Tina did not deserve last place overall. She has tried 9 times to get to this contest and she did not deserve that. I am not okay. I'm done. That is everything.
Okay, I have a couple. I'm gonna echo Rosie here in saying that 2 out of my top 3 got knocked out on the semis. So shout out, of course, to Montaigne, just because she's worked so hard and she didn't even get to even set foot in Europe for like the past 2 years, which is frustrating. And the second one for me is my kuya, my older brother Vincent, got like killed off at 12th place just because, you know, it didn't work out in my favor. And, you know, there's the Asian representation and the final gone, which broke my heart a bit, but it is what it is. It's what the competition is. So, you know, they managed to wave up the flag. And for the Filipinos, it actually made us feel represented. Even though we didn't make it, you know, we were still happy that, you know, we even got there. Like I've said on social media, like Miss Universe happened that week and we didn't even make it past the top 21. And I made this tweet saying, oh God, please don't let this be a precedent for a bad week. I should really shut my mouth.
Yeah,
And
but have you seen the bikini competition that Flo Rida was judging that week?
Don't even get me started, but that's actually my second one that I'm gonna say. I can't believe Senhit like flooded this year's competition with money for them to get, what was it? For them to get 22nd.
The fact that that did not get higher than Say Na Na Na, and I have a soft spot for Say Na Na Na. I don't dislike that song. But Adrenalina just brought so much quality, and the fact that it did not make it higher than Zerhat in 2019,
yeah,
also not okay.
I was like, I'm just wondering, like, oh God, she spent all that money like to come on the second half of the and not even get a good televote score. Like we thought, okay, this would appeal to the televote, and every Euro fan was like, okay, the locals will eat this up. The locals, 13 points.
Adrenalina deserved what Sugar got.
Yeah, if there's something I'd swap those 2 out. But you know, there's already lots of speculative theories that we won't say on this podcast because we don't want to get followed.
All I'll say is stream of oss Parhaninden after that. I won't say anything else.
So, as Tim has already pointed out, we are going to be going to Italy next year, possibly in person, fingers crossed. I have already been doing my Italian on Duolingo. Il cane ha la mia scarpa. The dog has my shoe. So what are you hoping for next year's contest? What would you like to see from Italy and from RAI as a host broadcaster?
I can start this off. Can we just make sure that the contest length would not go as long as San Remo, please? Like I know recently, like, you know, in 2019, that was a world breaker, about 4 hours. Imagine being there in Tel Aviv, which actually was. Like you start at like 10 and you don't finish the contest till 2. And then after the after party, the sun's already up. So, you know, Italy, I love you, please, but please just don't do that. Like, that's all I'm going to do. And second of all, I don't know what's going to happen in regards to the pandemic and the situation. You know, hopefully that it doesn't affect the quality. I mean, you did Sanremo in a good quality. So let's just hope that you're able to transfer whatever you do every single year and put on a great show. I mean, at the time of recording, they've just launched, like, you know, the submissions for the bid book. We don't know where we're going. You know, Turin is the favorite runner. So if we're going there, then yay. But, you know, I'm just looking forward that we're getting a new country that hasn't hosted this for so long again. And hopefully they do such a great job because they just deserve it so much.
I think I'm just glad to see that after 11 years that we will be back in a big five country. Like, to see, like, it feels like this year was one of the years where big five kind of did like really well. They occupied the first and second spots with Italy and France. And some people said, oh, scrap the big five. Obviously they bring a lot of money into the contest, and people say scrap it because they never do well, because they don't think they have to do well. So I really like that we're going to a big five country. I think I share Tim's sentiment in hoping that this contest does not last until 1-2 in the morning. But I wouldn't be surprised if it did. This is Italy. They like to talk. They like to have intervals. So who knows what's going to happen? I am expecting some killer intervals from Italian acts, past Italian acts that have been to Eurovision before, and Italian acts that have probably been in Sanremo as interval acts, because the talent that they have is insane. Like, they're definitely one of the best music industries in the world, and I think it's just going to be an amazing show. But I feel like it could have a bit of a classic feel to it, because Italy is a lot, like, it's not modern like we've seen in Sanremo. It's quite modern, but they like to have everything with a classical, elegant touch. So I think we'll definitely see that reflected in the contest, which I think will be nice. It'll be a little bit different from the contests that we've had like in the past. And can I ask for one other thing? No more blue squads. You don't have blue in your flag. No more blue squads.
Is that a hill you're willing to die on, Jazzi?
Absolutely.
I am honestly so excited to be going to Italy next year. I've said many times on this podcast that I have loved basically every entry Italy has sent to Eurovision ever. And since getting more into Sanremo, I have completely fallen in love with the Italian music industry, and it's basically half of what I listen to at this point. So one of the things that it's a very small hope, but one of the things that I think would be really cool to see is that in the 1991 contest, when Italy last hosted, the postcards were the performing acts in the contest performing famous Italian songs. And I think that would be really cool to have something like that. I just think that's such a lovely idea. I would really like, in an ideal world, an Amadeus and Fiorello hosting pair, but I'm not too up on my knowledge of Italian TV presenters, and I just absolutely enjoyed everything they did during Sanremo this year. Despite the fact that at that time I could speak basically no Italian, I still had such a blast watching them that I think they'd be really engaging for a Eurovision audience. Also, I just really don't want to go to Milan. I have a personal vendetta against Milan as a city. I'm sure it's beautiful, but I've been there once and I had to employ like almost all the emergency services while I was there. It was that bad a few hours. So yeah, I prefer not to go back there. Turin will be wonderful. Let's see what happens. And so we have gone to Italy through the works of Måneskin, who won Eurovision with Zitti I Buoni. And since winning Eurovision, they have skyrocketed. They are almost, at the time of recording, they are almost topping BTS as the most listened to band in the world on Spotify, which is...
They passed it.
Have they passed? Shit. Wow.
Everyone's already asking, where's the McDonald's meal?
I will happily have a Måneskin meal. Bonk. And yeah, they are in the top 5 of the UK charts, which again is kind of unheard of for a Eurovision winning act so close to their win. And they are basically dominating the world right now. It's been a huge sort of few months for them. How do you feel about that?
I Want to Be Your Slave is I have no shame in saying this or being a bit local in saying that I Want to Be Your Slave is probably a song I've listened to more than any Eurovision song this year. I absolutely adore it and it deserves all the success that it has had. It is an amazing song. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for them because I think they're younger than us. And I think they're going to have a massive career.
Fuck.
Like, I think they're like 21, 22. I think one of them might even be 20. And things have just blown up for them. And I think they've got a huge career ahead of them. I think they will stay global. I think my only wish for them is that they keep releasing music in Italian and stay to their Italian roots. And don't just like only release music in English now because they're massive now. I don't think that'll be the case. I think they will still stick with Italian roots because I know a lot of Italian people are very proud to be Italian. So I think they will stick to their Italian roots, but it's just my hope for them in the future.
You just reminded me of a Twitter post I saw that was basically like Måneskin's music in Italian. Beautiful lyrics, deep meanings, beautiful melodies, all of these sorts of things. Måneskin's music in English. I'm horny, let's fuck.
If Rory's listening, I think you might want to put an explicit warning on this podcast episode at this rate.
Bonk. Honestly, I'm both slightly stunned and also absolutely delighted. Like, their stage presence and charisma is just so magnetic to watch. It's fantastic. Honestly, out of all of their sort of big 3 so far, Zitie Buoni is definitely my favorite. Ventani is underrated and deserves better, and Coraline deserves better. I have been listening to Teatro d'Era Volume 1 while I have been decorating my house, and I have been loving it. And I am very excited for Volume 2, and I really do hope that things just keep getting better for them. Every day they now find a new way to grow. The time they spent together simply feels good. They got a good thing going.
For me, like, I already mentioned this before that I wasn't really a fan of Zitie Buoni, but you know, after the contest, that changed because you know I have this habit of not liking the winner and then ended up liking it anyways. Say 2017 and now, but all I'll say is I'm actually really impressed with how far Måneskin have gone. Just you know, since the contest has happened. They've, you know, made appearances all over Europe. They went to Lotta på Liseberg in Sweden the other week, and the audience there was just like screaming at it when I Want to Be Your Slave went on. And my God, like even looking at it now, I've looked at the global chart in Spotify, and today's July 8th. They're number 1 with their cover of Beggin'. And I think that's been there for a while now. And even in the UK, they're like the first Eurovision act to have been, you know, reached top 10. You know, not their Eurovision song, but as an artist. Like, that hasn't happened for a while. And another thing I have to look at, which you can hear me look at my clacking at my keyboard, but just because I saw this and I just wanted to confirm it. Yeah, I did see somewhere that they've also reached the Billboard charts already. So, they're at 78. Duncan's been up there for a while as well. So, like, the past 2 Eurovision winners on the Billboard Hot 100, I don't think that has happened ever for a while. So that's another thing. Like, they're already taking over the world. And you know how fast this is? Måneskin has already gotten rid of any Eurovision reference from their biography, which just shows that, oh yeah, Eurovision kills careers. Just shove this to their face. Thank you. But, good on Måneskin. I really hope that they continue on with their music. And, all I'll say is, if I had the money, I would have bought the merch already, but it got sold out. Even though the shipping costs are like doubled what the actual merch is.
I also just want to give a shout out to their performance in Poland recently. And as people who follow this podcast probably know, Poland's currently not doing too great on queer rights. And Måneskin had a show there fairly recently, and 2 of the members, Damiano and Thomas, who not that we are like speculating on the band's sexuality, this is just going off what they've said in interviews, but they are the 2 straight people in the band. Victoria and Ethan are both openly queer in some form or another, and so Damiano and Thomas shared a kiss live on stage, and just that act of defiance, from what I've seen from people who live in Poland, and particularly LGBT people who live in Poland, doing something like that was so meaningful for them. So yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to that because I thought that was cool. And it's like one of the things I'm getting from their interviews and things as well is that they really are passionate about using the huge platform they've now got to do good things and share good messages. So yeah, I wish them every success. So having had a Eurovision winner go this big, what do you think that might mean for the contest next year?
I don't know, because I feel like we saw rumblings of this with Duncan as we were coming towards Eurovision. So, and obviously it's happened again with Måneskin. I think it will attract a lot of new upcoming artists. Potentially these artists will see it as a springboard onto really big things. And again, I don't think we should ignore Daddy Freya, who has also done pretty well internationally with his song from 2020, Think About Things. And you have to remember with that, he never performed at the contest. He didn't have that platform. Imagine if he had have done. And I think he would have probably emulated a lot of a lot of Duncan and Måneskin's success if he'd have had that platform. So Eurovision is getting bigger, it's getting more popular, and I feel like this is such a springboard for up and coming artists, and I do think things may change. I think we're going to see more artists getting more and more popular because it was more temporary, but in terms of Eurovision songs in the Spotify charts anyway, Shum did quite well, and so did Blind Channel's Dark Side for a few, albeit a lot, not as long as Måneskin and their I don't know if they've released any follow-ups yet, but obviously Måneskin won the contest, so the attention will obviously naturally go to them. But it's like Eurovision artists are starting to do a little bit better in the charts. And I know that nobody uses iTunes anymore, but a lot of the older audience do, and Tix was #1 on iTunes at one point. In the UK, I don't think it was for very long. I think it was probably for a couple of hours, but it happened. I felt that was quite a nice thing as well, because he didn't do very well in the final. I think he came about 20th That might be a bit. It might have been a bit better than that, but still, he's gonna take the money from iTunes, isn't he? He's gonna put it straight in his pocket, so he'll be happy with that. Like, again, older people tend to use iTunes, so there was clearly an older demographic for him that enjoyed his song, and I kind of do understand why, because it's a nice song, and the performance was nice. So I think we're going to see a lot more of this sort of thing that's happening with Måneskin, Go Away, Blind Channel, on a lesser extent Tix. I think we'll see a lot more of it, because we've already seen rumblings of it with Duncan and Daddy in the last couple of years. And I think Daddy would have been as successful or near as successful as Måneskin were had he had the opportunity to perform in the 2020 contest. And you kind of always have to think, what could have been?
Yeah, I think possibly I absolutely agree with everything Jazzi said, but I feel like Måneskin are almost the sort of epitome of this movement that has been happening in Eurovision over the last sort of 5, sort of getting on for 10 years, where there has just been this real shift towards authenticity and this shift towards artists coming and performing their own music. And it's not songs that are written just for Eurovision. It's not songs that are written to be a Eurovision song. They are just songs that are simply representative of who the artist is, what sort of music they make, what styles they enjoy performing. And we've seen it, honestly, with all of the results this year, and the fact that songs that were such a huge diversity of genres making the top 10 and the top 5. And so I feel like Måneskin is possibly going to open the door to even a much broader range of genres and styles coming through. And honestly, that makes me so excited. That's one of the reasons I love this contest so much. I never thought I would be into heavy metal music until AWS showed up. I never thought I'd be into like EBM music, and then Hatari showed up. I never thought that I would be into so many different styles of music. I never thought I'd be into like electro techno folk, and then Go A turn up. And I absolutely fall in love with everything they do. And so I'm so excited and really hope that we get a massively genre diverse, style diverse, language diverse contest next year. And I think Måneskin doing so well will really encourage broadcasters, particularly those who might have been a little bit hesitant in the past, to do that sort of thing. The UK. To do that sort of thing. And I think that would be awesome.
For me, all I would just say, I think we're going somewhere great. And the fact that, we're seeing this now, I think it might also help elevate another contest that's gonna come up, American Song Contest, that might potentially be on at the same time as Eurovision. So if people in the other side of the pond are seeing how great this contest is, what type of music it can produce, and what type of music the artists that have participated it can produce, they might be more inclined to maybe watch it, and who knows, they might find something there. But, for next year, I think it might set up a high expectation, which I might be a bit scared that they might not be able to replicate. I don't know if it's just because we've been waiting for 2 years for a competition that we're just, okay, we like everything just because we haven't had it for so long. I think there's that fear of judgment where we can't differentiate things going forward. But all I'm going to say is it's heading in the right direction in terms of the global appeal of the contest, and it might have to be a wait and see what 2022 can bring, and see how that could affect it quality wise and exposure wise.
Wonderful. Does anybody have any final thoughts that they would like to add on anything that we have discussed during this episode?
It is so good to be back, and we will be back every week, providing there's no complete disasters that happen. You never know with us lot, though. We're pretty chaotic. So
all I'm gonna say is I've actually got two things. One is, yep, I'm happy to be back. And second, I don't know, Rosie, if you're coming along with this. All I'm gonna say is, Ma, I made it. I'm on a top 5 Eurovision entry.
Yes! Honestly, I was boasting about it on Facebook because he posted that list of everyone who was in the entry, and I was like, oh my God, it's my name. And he also spelt my name wrong, which
So that's
honestly,
that's more
everyone
views.
does. So I'm not complaining too much. I just think it's funny that he did too.
Is Jendrik the first act in Eurovision to ever place top 5 and bottom 5? Well,
In the
he is.
same year.
Yoon Lundvik.
Oh yeah. Jon
Does he count since he wasn't actually vocals on?
Yoon Lundvik was uncredited on both, but Jendrik is uncredited on this one. You could potentially give him a pass just because. Plus, if Dadi says he was there, then he was there.
And so that brings us to the end of that episode. Well, this episode of That Eurovision Podcast. I would like to thank Jazzi and Tim for joining me, and I would like to echo their sentiments that it is absolutely wonderful to be back. And we will be releasing new episodes every Saturday, so make sure that you are subscribed to us on your Spotify or your Apple Podcasts, or just our YouTube channel, where we will also be posting our podcasts in the future. You can also follow us on all of our social medias at That Eurosite, and don't forget to check out our website, That Eurovision Site, for the latest news, articles, editorials, and also if you fancy joining our team. Feel free to get in touch with us, and see you next time. Everybody say bye. Bye.